Sam and Elena, high school sweethearts, had a love that only grew stronger with time. They loved each other so much so that they were always found together and had plans to always be together in the future. They tied the knot, eager to start a family, but fate had other plans. Elena had a medical condition called cervical insufficiency, which made her pregnancy journey a challenging one. Due to this condition, Elena's cervix would weaken and open too early, causing miscarriages whenever she got stressed or overwhelmed. Despite their desire to have children, they suffered multiple heart-wrenching miscarriages, each one a painful reminder of their struggles. Determined to overcome this hardship, they sought medical advice and explored options to ensure a successful pregnancy. With the help of their healthcare provider, they learned stress management techniques and took extra precautions to safeguard Elena's pregnancies. Sam, who was financially stable and devoted to his family, asked Elena to quit her job immediately after she got pregnant again. He wanted to ensure her safety and well-being, and he was also capable of managing the household expenses on his own. Elena happily agreed, focusing on her pregnancy and taking care of herself. Sam lovingly became the sole breadwinner, ensuring their home was comfortable and secure. As fate would have it, Elena's careful care and stress management paid off, and she gave birth to healthy twin boys. They named them Royd and Abel. The arrival of their twin brought more joy to the Sam's family. But one day, Sam's friend Jimmy gave Sam some wrong advice. He said, "Sam, I have been meaning to tell you something." Jimmy said with a chuckle, "Your wife has given birth. It's time for her to go look for a job before she turns into a permanent liability to you." Sam was surprised and amused by his friend's comment. "Ha, you are not serious," he replied, shaking his head in disbelief. "My wife is not a liability to me, rather my responsibility. Besides, what she does at home all day is tasking. She's taking care of our 9-month-old twins, managing the household, and making sure everything runs smoothly. That's a full-time job on its own." Sam continued, "Besides, I was the one who asked her to quit the job. I wanted her to focus on our family and our children's well-being. I am grateful for her hard work and dedication. She's an amazing mother and partner." "Sam, let her go for work. My wife doesn't depend on me. She does everything with her own money. My wife is worth millions." Sam replied, "If she's worth millions, why didn't you ask her for money when you needed it? Why did you ask me for a loan just last week again?" "It's because I didn't want her to know," Jimmy replied. "Well, I see, I have heard you, but once my kids start working and going to school, I plan to support my wife in starting her own business, but for now, I am happy to have her at home, taking care of our family." "Don't bother starting a business for her. Just let her go out and look for a job," Jimmy replied. "Well, I am done with this topic." Sam gathered his belongings and prepared to leave the office, indicating that he had had enough of the conversation. Sam got into his car and drove away. Meanwhile, Jimmy muttered to himself, "Sam, we used to be friends before you got married, but let's be real, I have never lifted a finger to help you out. Yet, I expected you to come through for me when I needed a loan, but you refused, citing some lame excuse about me not paying back the last one. Now, my wife is demanding the jewelry she wants, and I need the money to keep her happy, but you are not willing to help me out, even though I've never done anything for you in the past. I am going to take this lying down. Sam, I am going to make sure you regret not supporting me in my time of need. You're going to have to deal with the consequences of not being a good friend." Jimmy muttered to himself, But what Sam didn't know was that Jimmy was lying about his wife. In reality, Jimmy's wife didn't work and was completely dependent on him. But even though he provided for her, he had no say in the house. She controlled everything and he was just a puppet. He was forced to surrender his hard-earned money to her every demand, and she spent it on luxurious things without any regard for his financial struggles. Jimmy persistently begged Sam for a loan, but Sam refused. Jimmy was determined to ruin Sam's family because his own wife was giving him problems. You are not helping me because you spend all your money on your wife. She should get a job like my wife. Women who stay at home all day are cheating on their husbands. They have affairs with other men because their husbands are too tired from work to satisfy them in bed. Sam was furious and warned Jimmy to never speak about his wife like that again. This is the first time and last time you will speak about my wife in this way. Jimmy, if you want to remain friends, you will never mention her again. But Jimmy's words had already planted a seed of doubt in Sam's mind. Sam stormed out of Jimmy's office, furious that his plans to ruin Sam's marriage had failed. Meanwhile, Sam continued with his day as usual, but soon realized he had forgotten an important file at home. He rushed back home to retrieve it, but what he found shocked him. The front door was open and a man was coming out of his bedroom with his wife. Sam was shocked to see a man coming out of his bedroom with his wife. Who is this man? Elena, who is this man? Sam asked, his voice shaken with surprise. Elena calmly replied, my husband, he's just a plumber. I called to fix the bathroom water heater. It's been broken since last night. Sam was confused. But why didn't you tell me about this last night? He asked. Well, you came home late and I didn't want to bother you with it, Elena replied back. Sam looked at the plumber, but he didn't see any tools in his hands. Where are your tools? Sam asked. Well, he just came to check the problem, not to fix it, Elena replied. The plumber nodded and said, yes, I'll come back to fix it when you're ready. Elena told the plumber to leave, and Sam went inside to get his file. He left the house without saying another word to Elena. His mind was racing with doubts. As he drove away, he thought about what Jimmy had said, that women who stay at home are more likely to cheat on their husbands. Is Elena having an affair? Sam wondered. No, but we love each other. She wouldn't do that. He tried to convince himself. But the seed of doubt had already been planted by Jimmy's words already. When Sam arrived at the office, he went straight to Jimmy's office to seek his opinion on what he saw at home. My friend, I just found my wife with a man at home, he said, his voice lessened with worry. She said he is a plumber, but I'm not sure if I believe her. Jimmy smirked, thinking, yes, my plan is working. He said, I told you, Sam, women who stay at home are trouble. They have too much time on their hands and will find ways to cheat on you. If she had a job, she would be too busy to entertain men, and she would even support you financially. When you get home today, tell her to go look for a job. It's time she starts contributing to the household's income. Sam replied, but her kids are just 10 months old and we have no one to keep them if she goes to work. I don't want to put additional stress on her. Jimmy responded, there are many daycare services in town, my friend. She can drop them off at daycare and then go to work. It's the best option. Sam hesitated, but don't you think I'm overthinking this? This will be extra stress on her, and she already does a lot of work at home, taking care of the kids and managing the household. My friend, Sam, do what I said. I can't give you bad advice. Your wife needs to get out of the house and start earning money. It will be good for her and your relationship. And another thing, tell her to stop spending so much money on groceries and household items. She needs to learn how to budget and prioritize things. Sam reluctantly agreed. Okay, when I get home, I will tell her. After all, your wife is pregnant and still works, so it must be possible. As Sam departed from Jimmy's office, Jimmy burst into a fit of laughter, revealing his own cleverness. The irony. Sam refused to loan me money to pacify my wife, but now he'll face the same pressure from the own wife. The tables have turned. Let the games begin. Jimmy's laughter echoed through the room. Sam's mind was in turmoil as he drove home, the words still echoing in his mind. He couldn't shake off the feeling that Elena was hiding something from him. When he arrived home, he found Elena busy preparing dinner in the kitchen. Well, he took a deep breath and approached her. "Elena, we need to talk," Sam said, his voice firm but hesitant. Elena looked up, concerned. "What's wrong, Sam?" Sam took another deep breath before blurting out the advice. "I think you should get a job. It will make you stop depending on me for everything." Elena's expression changed from concern to shock. "What? Why would you say that? Please, let the kids get to 1 year first," Elena pleaded. "Taking care of them is very tasking and demanding, coupled with house chores. Taking care of little children is no work," Sam stated, his voice dripping with disdain. "Please, honey, wait till they get to 1 year. Please," Elena replied, her voice laced with frustration. "I have told you my mind and that's final," Sam said, and he angrily left Elena. For the next few days, Sam's behavior towards Elena changed. He became increasingly irritable and critical, finding faults in everything she did. He would barely speak to her, and when he did, it was with a condescending tone. Elena felt like she was walking on eggshells, never knowing what would set Sam off next. She tried to reason with him, but he wouldn't listen. One day, Elena had had enough. "I've had enough of your behavior, Sam," she said, her voice shaking with anger. "I am ready to get a job, just like you wanted." Sam sneered. It's about time. Who will take care of the children, though?" Elena hesitated. "Well, I thought maybe we could find a nanny or..." Elena cut her off. "No way, we can't afford that. They'll go to daycare." Elena reluctantly agreed and started applying for jobs, but it seemed like no one wanted to hire her. Sam's behavior continues to worsen, and he even stopped giving Elena money for her basic needs. One day, Elena received a call offering her a job as a cook at a restaurant. The hours were long, from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., but she had no choice. She accepted the job, hoping that things would get better. When she told Sam about the job, he barely reacted. "That's great," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Elena started working as a cook, and most days she would take excuses to pick up the kids from daycare and keep them close to her at work. Her boss was sympathetic towards her and allowed her to take the kids to Works Lodge after daycare closed. But one Saturday, Sam didn't go to work, so she left the kids with him as he was home. Sam was excited to spend the day with his twin boys, Abel and Royd. He thought it would be a breeze, but little did he know the twins had other plans. As soon as Elena left, the twins started crying simultaneously. Sam tried to calm them down, but they wouldn't stop. He changed their diapers, but they continued to wail. He fed them, but they spat out the food. He tried to play with them, but they threw toys across the room. Sam was frazzled. He had never taken care of the twins alone before, and he didn't know how Elena did it every day. He was exhausted, and the day had just started. As the day went on, the twins' antics only worsened. They poured cereal all over the floor, drew on the walls, and refused to take a nap. Sam was at his wits' end. He never felt so overwhelmed in his life. Just when he thought things couldn't get any worse, the twins started demanding attention. "Dada, Dada," they chimed in unison. Sam tried to ignore them, but they wouldn't stop. They climbed all over him, pulling his hair and stretching his face. Sam was a mess. He was covered in cereal formula and baby drool. He looked like he had been through a war, and to top it all off, the twins still wouldn't stop crying. Just then, the doorbell rang. Sam breathed a sigh of relief, thinking Helena had arrived to rescue him from the chaos. But when he opened the door, he was greeted by his gate man, whose timing couldn't have been worsened. Whose timing couldn't have been worse. What do you want? Sam hissed, his frustration evident. Oga, I can perceive that food is burning, the gate man said, his eyes wide with concern. Sam's face contorted in disbelief. Oh Jesus, I forgot to put food on the fire. These children are driving me crazy. The gate man took a step back, looking startled. Sir, I think you need some help. The twins are crying. The house is a mess. And is that cereal on the couch? Sam yelled at his gate man, "Leave me alone." He went back inside, feeling very stressed. The babies were crying loudly, the food was burning in the kitchen, and the house was a mess. Toys and baby things were all over the floor. He didn't know what to do at first. He felt like he was going crazy. He took a deep breath and tried to think. Okay, first I'll stop the babies from crying, then I'll fix the food, and after that I'll clean up the mess. But as soon as he took a step forward, the babies started crying even louder. Sam's head spun. He didn't know how Elena did this every day. Elena came from work very tired. Sam asked her to quit her job, but she was too exhausted to talk about it. Bathed them and fed them, and then put them to sleep. After that, she went to bed. The next morning, which was a Sunday, Elena got up early and got the kids ready. She bathed and fed them and then put them to sleep again. Then she made her way to the main door to leave for work. But just as she reached for the door handle, Sam tapped her from behind. "Where are you going?" he asked. "Well, to work?" Elena replied. "But I told you to quit your job." Sam said, "I can't take care of the kids for another day. Yesterday was hell. I can't handle it again." Elena turned to him frustrated. "You pressured me to get a job, and now that I'm working, you expect me to quit? You must be a joker. I need to work for my own sanity. I don't have time for your arguments." Elena opened the door and left for work, leaving Sam to take care of the kids again. Sam was angry and felt like Elena was not listening to him. After Elena left the house, Sam went back to the bedroom where the twins were sleeping. He tried to be quiet so he wouldn't wake them up, but as he reached for his phone, he accidentally touched one of the babies, and the little one started crying very loudly. Sam quickly picked up the baby and tried to calm him down, but it was too late. The other twin woke up and started crying too. Sam was frustrated and exclaimed, "Not again." The babies cried and screamed, kicking their little legs and waving their little fists. One of them spit on Sam's shirt and the other pulled his hair. Sam tried to calm them down, but they were too upset. Just then, one of the babies let out a big fart and the other one did the same. Sam's eyes watered from the smell, and he stumbled around the room trying to escape it. Finally, the baby started to get tired, and Sam was able to calm them down. He collapsed onto the bed. He looked up at the ceiling and wondered how these little babies could cause so much chaos. Sam's eyes had already barely closed when another baby started crying. He threw up his hands in frustration, got dressed, and scooped up the twins. He stormed out of the house, driving recklessly to where Elena worked. He burst into the entry, screaming at the top of his lungs, "Elena, where are you?" The scene he created drew attention from customers and workers alike. One of the employees hastily alerted Elena, whispering, "Your husband is causing a scene and it's not going over well with the customers." Elena rushed to Sam, trying to calm him down. "Let's talk outside, honey," she pleaded, but Sam was beyond reason. "Fire my wife from here. I'll destroy your entry," he bellowed. "She left our kids to come work here. I earn enough money to take care of her and the kids. She refused to quit when I told her to." The owner, alarmed by the commotion, rushed over and demanded that Sam leaves. When he refused, the owner instantly fired Elena, much to Sam's satisfaction. Elena begged her boss to reconsider, but security was called to escort her off the premises. As they were led away, Elena's eyes locked onto Sam's, a mix of anger, sadness, and disappointment. "How could you do this to me?" she whispered. "Get in the car, honey, and let's leave here. I'll create more trouble," Sam shouted. Anita, angry and sad, went to get a taxi home. Sam got home before her and packed all her things in the living room. When Elena arrived, she was shocked to see her bags in the living room. "Why are my bags here?" she asked. Sam, sitting in a chair, said, "I don't want you to work. I want you to stay home. If you agree, I'll put your bags back into our room. If not, leave my house." Elena was very upset. When did you become so mean? Where is the love we had? You embarrassed me at work, got me fired, and now you're controlling me?" Sam didn't listen. "Just answer yes or no. Will you stay home or leave?" Elena gathered her children in her arms, tears streaming down her face. "I'm leaving," she declared, her voice firm. Sam's expression darkened. "Where do you think you're taking my kids?" he demanded, his voice rising. The argument escalated, with neither willing to back down. Finally, Elena took one of the twins, while Sam held onto the other. With a heavy heart, Elena turned and walked away from the home they once shared. Sam watched her go, a smirk smile spreading across his face. "She'll come crawling back," he thought to himself. "Her parents will send her back, and when she returns, she'll beg for my forgiveness." Sam's worry had turned to panic as hours ticked with no word from Elena. 3 days had passed and his pride was crumbling. He reluctantly doubted Elena's family, hoping against hope, but he just sought refuge with them. "Hello," Elena's mother answered, her voice warm and concerned. "Hi, my in-law. I am looking for Elena. We had a little fight and I thought she might have come to your house," Sam said, trying to sound calm, but Elena's mother's response surprised him. "I should be asking you that, Sam. My daughter is in your home. What will she be doing here?" Sam's mind raced as he realized his mistake. Well, we had a small argument and I thought she might have come to your house." Elena's mother interrupted him, her tone firm but calm. "Sam, we haven't seen or heard from Elena." Elena's father, a man of few words, took the phone from his wife and demanded answers from Sam. "Where is my daughter?" he asked, his voice firm but less with concern. Sam, still trying to downplay the situation, replied, "Maybe she's returned home. I'm still in the office." But Elena's father was not convinced. He knew his daughter and he knew she wouldn't just disappear without a trace. He handed the phone back to his wife, his eyes filled with worry. After the call, Sam tried to reach Elena's number again, but her phone was off. Sam burst into Jimmy's office, his eyes red and puffy from crying. "Jimmy, my wife left me. She's not at her parents' house and I have no idea where she is. I'm so worried. I miss her and my son," roared. "My happy family has turned to ashes." Jimmy leaned back in his chair, a sympathetic expression on his face. "Sam, don't worry. Elena will come back. She's just upset, that's all." But deep down, Jimmy was happy that Sam's family was falling apart. Days turned in 2 weeks, and Elena's parents didn't hear from either Elena or Sam. They grew more worried by the day and decided to pay Sam an unexpected visit. Sam was sitting in the living room, struggling to take care of his son, Abel, who was crying uncontrollably. Elena's parents burst into the room, their faces filled with concern. "Where is our daughter?" Elena's mother demanded, her voice firm. Elena's mother took little Abel from Sam and managed to calm him down, persuading him not to cry. She said, "Abel will stay with us until we are reunited with our daughter, Elena." Sam shrugged, feeling defeated. "We just had little issues and she left the house. I don't know where she is." Elena's father's face turned red with anger. "You're not telling us the truth. Sam, we know you're hiding something." Sam tried to justify himself, but Elena's father was having none of it. He called the police and Sam was arrested on the spot. As Sam sat in the cell, he realized that his pride and refusal to listen had cost him everything. He had lost his job, his family, and his peace. He was left alone, with nothing but the bitter taste of regret. 3 months later, Sam was released from jail, a shadow of his former self. He had lost everything that truly matters to him. He had no access to his wife and children. Elena had started a new life in a different city. Elena worked hard to provide for her son, Royd, but she never forgot her other son, Abel. She missed him dearly and prayed for him every day, hoping that one day they would be reunited. Sam walked into his empty house, feeling a mix of emotions. He had just been released from jail and was greeted by silence on his empty house. He looked around, but all he saw were pictures of his wife and kids. He cried and felt frustrated, realizing that his family was no longer with him. He decided to pay Jimmy an unexpected visit to let him know that he was out of jail. He knew that Jimmy's office didn't open on Saturdays, but he hopes to catch him at home. When he arrived at Jimmy's home, he was surprised to see Frida, Jimmy's wife, instead. "Hey Frida, how are you?" Sam asked, trying to sound friendly. "I'm good, Sam. What about you? We haven't seen you in a while." Frida replied, looking concerned. "Well, I just got out of jail," Sam replied. "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that," Frida replied. Sam changed the subject. "So Frida, where is Jimmy? I need to talk to him." "Well, he went to work," Frida answered. Sam raised an eyebrow, but his office doesn't open on Saturdays. Frida hesitated. "Well, Jimmy works for some people during the weekend. We need the money, especially since I'm about to give birth in less than a month." Sam said, "You are a wealthy woman. You can help your husband get that. You are working to support him. He should have rest." Frida replied, "You are right, but that's if I'm working. I'm not working. And Sam, I haven't worked ever since I got married to Jimmy. He provides everything for me." Sam was shocked. He remembered how Jimmy had used Frida's work pregnancy as an example to pressure him into forcing his own wife, Elena, to work while she was taking care of their twins. This had led to destruction of their family. Some questions ran through his mind. "Does it mean Jimmy has been deceiving me?" he thought. Just as he thought this, Jimmy walked in, looking rough from physical labor. Sam walked close to him, staring at him. "Hey man, when did you return from jail?" Jimmy asked, looking guilty. Sam demanded, "Tell me the truth. Does your wife work or not? You used her as an example to pressure me into forcing my wife to work, and now my family is destroyed." Jimmy stuttered. "What do you mean by this question?" Sam grabbed his shirt, his voice low and menacing. "I say, answer me, yes or no." "Jimmy, does your wife work? Yes or no?" Jimmy stuttered. "No, my wife does not work." Sam was frozen in time, his mind reeling with shock and anger. He couldn't believe that Jimmy had lied to him all this time. "Why did you lie to me, Jimmy?" Sam demanded, his voice shaking with rage. "Your lies have destroyed my family, my life. I lost my wife, children, and job. What have I done to deserve this?" Frida watched in shock as the scene unfolded before her eyes. Jimmy couldn't answer, unable to meet Sam's gaze. "You are the real devil, Jimmy. Don't you have your own sense? You did everything yourself. Don't you have your own sense? You did everything. You destroyed your family yourself." Jimmy finally found his voice. Sam glared at him, his anger and betrayal boiling over. "You are a liar, Jimmy. You destroyed my life with your lies. I'll never forgive you." With that, Sam turned and walked out of the house, leaving Jimmy and Frida in an uncomfortable silence. 25 years later, Jimmy's family was torn apart. His two sons, Abel and Royd, grew up in different worlds, unaware of each other's existence. Royd, that his father had passed away when he kept asking about him. Abel had no idea he had a twin brother somewhere. Elena avoided contacting her parents or Sam because she feared they would force her to return to him, and she didn't want to go back to the painful past. Abel lived with his grandparents, who showed him pictures of his mother and told him she was gone. They said his twin brother was nowhere to be found, and Abel grew up believing his father had killed his mother and brother. He hated Sam, even though Sam visited him occasionally at his grandparents' house. Despite his success at the business, Abel felt a void in his life, a sense that something was missing. He couldn't shake the feeling that his mother and brother were still alive somewhere, and he prayed they would cross paths one day. On the other hand, Royd grew up with Elena, who worked hard to provide for him. She never spoke about the past or Sam, but Royd became a brilliant young doctor. Elena was proud of him, but she never forgot about Abel and Sam. Sam's life had fallen apart. He was now a non-world drunkard, and his once successful life had crumbled. He regretted destroying his family and found solace in drinking. He missed Elena and his sons, but he didn't know how to make things right. He felt like a shadow of his former self, haunted by the pain of his mistakes. Royd was a renowned cardiologist, celebrated for his exceptional skill in treating heart conditions. His expertise sought after by top hospitals, which referred patients to his hospital. Trusting his ability to deliver outstanding care, Royd's reputation as a master cardiologist precedes him, earning him a reputation as a go-to specialist in his field. Judy rushed her father, Jimmy, to the hospital in an ambulance. Sirens blaring, the paramedics had already started oxygen therapy and electrocardiogram. Upon arrival, the nurses swiftly transferred Jimmy to a stretcher, attaching him to a cardiac monitor and pulse oximeter. They quickly assessed his airway, breathing and circulation, and started intravenous access. Just then, Dr. Royd, the cardiologist, burst into the room. "What's the situation?" he asked, scrubbing in. "Dr. Royd, we are trying to stabilize him," a nurse replied. Dr. Royd quickly assessed Jimmy's condition. With Dr. Royd's expertise and the team's swift action, Jimmy's heart began to recover. The blocked artery was opened and blood flow was restored. As Jimmy was wheeled into the cardiac intensive care unit, Judy breathed a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Dr. Royd," she said with tears in her eyes, thankful for the doctor's help. Dr. Royd smiled reassuringly. "We are not out of the woods yet, but your father is in good hands." When Jimmy was transferred to the ward, Judy dedicated herself to his care, showcasing her compassion and devotion. Whenever Royd visited to check on Jimmy's progress, he was struck by Judy's selflessness and attentiveness towards her father. As Royd continued to witness Judy's unwavering dedication, he found himself drawn to her kindness and empathy. As time passed on, Royd and Judy became friends. Royd, who had grown up without a father figure in his life, had been taught by his mother to appreciate the importance of family. However, seeing Judy's love and care for her father made him yearn for a similar relationship. He couldn't help but feel a pang of longing for a father bond like theirs. After Jimmy recovered and was discharged from the hospital, Judy and Jimmy remained in touch. Their friendship continued to flourish, and soon they found themselves spending increasingly more time together. As they grew closer, their friendship blossomed into something more, and they realized that they had fallen deeply in love. Royd and Judy's relationship was blossoming. Judy was still studying at the university and would often visit Royd on weekends, spending the entire weekend with him. As they spent more time together, they got to know each other better. One weekend, as Judy was on her way to Royd's place from school, she saw someone who looked like Royd holding a girl on the road. She waved from the cab she was in, but he didn't wave back, and she thought it was strange. Unknown to Judy, the person she was waving at was actually Abel and not Royd. When Judy arrived at Royd's home, she was surprised to see him there, looking different in jeans. He rushed back to change, she thought to herself. Royd, noticing Judy's gaze, ran to meet her. "Welcome, baby. I've missed you so much," he said. Judy was skeptical. Missed who? I saw you not too long ago holding a woman so tightly, she said, her tone laced with suspicion. Royd laughed. The only woman I hold tight are you and my mom. And my mom isn't here. She's far away in the east, he explained. Judy pressed on. I saw you on the road not too long ago. Are you trying to make me look like a fool? Royd held up his hands. Please, I am not ready for this stress. I had a busy day today. Come inside, let me carry your bag. Judy huffed and went inside while Royd carried her bags into the room. I am very hungry. Please kindly prepare something for me to eat, Royd asked Judy. I am tired, Judy said. Let's go get something outside, please, she suggested. Never mind, I will manage, Royd replied. Royd went to the kitchen to cook noodles. After cooking, he set the table for himself and Judy. They both ate and enjoyed themselves. Judy left the dining table before Royd, who was still eating. Judy went to the room and picked up Royd's phone that was on the bed. She decided to check his messages, WhatsApp chats, and all social media chats and calls to see if Royd was actually cheating on her, but she found nothing. But as she was about to check the gallery, Royd came in. Out of shock, the phone fell off her hand and the screen got destroyed. What have you done? Royd shouted at Judy. I'm sorry, it's a mistake, Judy said. I was just checking to know if you were cheating on me, that's why. Why would I cheat on you? Royd asked. You are enough for me and I love you for who you are. I am sorry, Judy said. I love you too. That's why I am feeling insecure. Tomorrow I will go fix your phone. I promise, Judy said. Royd came close, picked up the phone from the floor and kept it on the table in the room. He held Judy close and said, I love you so much. I love you, so stop being insecure. Judy nodded her head. Royd kissed her on the forehead while Judy closed her eyes. Then Royd kissed her on the lips. Royd swept Judy off her feet, cradling her in his arms as he carried her to the bed. He laid her down gently, his eyes locked on hers, filled with adoration. I promise, Judy, I will never leave you. I will love you forever, he whispered. Their lips met in a tender kiss, and they made love with a depth of passion that only grew stronger. The next morning, Judy slipped out of the bed before Royd woke up, taking his phone to the repair shop. As she waited for the repair, she sat in a chair, pressing her phone. Suddenly, a familiar figure walked by. It was Abel. Their eyes met and Judy's mind raced. Are my eyes paining me? Royd just passed me here, and he's acting like he didn't see me, she thought to herself. Abel seemed to ignore her, but a few moments later, Abel asked another worker for the sales book, saying, I want to check something. The worker replied, Yes, boss. Judy's eyes widened in shock. Why was everyone calling Royd boss? She paid and left off, still seeing Abel, who she thought was Royd, chatting with a customer. She entered the cab back to Royd's house, only to find Royd sleeping in the bed, in the same state she had left him. She rubbed her eyes, trying to clear her vision, wondering if she was seeing double. Judy gently woke Royd. Royd, are you okay? She asked. Royd gradually opened his eyes. Why did you wake me up? I was sleeping, he complained. Judy apologized. I'm sorry, but I just saw you at the shop where I took your phone for repair. It was the same face, same hairstyle, and the same look as you. Royd laughed. You are funny. Judy, I've been in bed since last night. You are the one who woke me up. But Judy was determined to get to the bottom of things. She pulled Royd out of the bed, opened the wardrobe, and handed him his clothes. Get dressed, she said. Royd grumbled, but eventually put on the clothes. Meet me in the car, Judy said, already heading out the door. Royd followed, getting into the driver's seat. Where are we going? He asked, starting the engine. Just drive. I'll direct you, Judy replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement and shock at the same time. Royd drove, following Judy's instructions, until they eventually arrived at Abel's Plaza. As they got out of the car, Judy led the way to the shop's entrance. Just then, a man came running up from behind, out of breath. Sir, good morning, boss. please forgive me. I am late to work because of heavy traffic, he said, addressing Royd. But Royd was surprised. He didn't know this man, and he definitely wasn't his boss. Judy and Royd exchanged a quizzical glance. It's fine, Royd replied, playing along. The man rushed into the shop, leaving them wondering what was going on. Inside, the man greeted Abel, who was already there. Why are you late for work? Abel asked gruffly. The man repeated his excuse, adding, just as I told you outside, sir. But then he noticed something strange. Sir, when did you change your clothes? Abel looked confused. He started to ask his worker what's going on, but before he could finish, Royd and Judy walked in. Abel's eyes met Royd's and they started to stare at each other. The air was tense, like a big storm was coming. Royd's eyes tried to read Abel's face. Abel's eyes searched for answers in Royd's face. Judy looked back and forth between them like a referee. Abel and Royd stared at each other for a long time. Finally, Abel spoke up. You are Royd, right? He asked, his voice shaking. Royd nodded. Yes, I'm Royd. Who are you? Abel's face lit up with joy and he opened his arms to hug Royd. Oh, Royd, it's so great to see you, he exclaimed, his voice cracking with emotion. But Royd didn't hug him back. Instead, he stood still and asked, what's going on? Why are you hugging me? And who are you? I'm hugging you because we are brothers. We're twins. Can't you see we have the same face? Abel replied. Royd looked shocked. Twins? My mom never told me I had a twin brother. The workers were still staring at the two brothers who had identical faces. Abel suggested, let's go to my office to talk. So Judy and Royd went to Abel's office. Abel began to explain. Our grandparents told me about you. We are twins. Our parents had problems and separated us when we were young. Our dad took me and our mom took you. Royd's eyes widened in surprise as Abel explained everything. So our parents separated us and never told us about each other? Royd asked, his voice filled with a mix of emotions. That's right, Abel explained, but our grandparents told me about you. They thought you and mom were dead and they blamed dad for your disappearance and presumed death. I hated dad for that, but I always hoped we'd meet again and here we are. Judy, who had been quietly observing the reunion, spoke up. This is amazing. I can't believe you two are identical twins. Yes, we are identical twins. Thank you for reuniting us, Royd said to Judy. What about our dad? Royd asked. My mom told me he's late. Dad is alive, Abel said. He's a drunkard and I hate him for what happened to you and mom. I visit him occasionally out of kindness. He has sold everything he had and uses the money for drinks. I pay for his rent and provide for his basic needs, Abel continued. So you mean our dad is alive? Royd asked. Yes, he is, Abel replied. Please, can I see him? Can I see my father? Royd asked. Yes, you can see him, Abel said. I'll not only take you to see our father, but also our grandparents. It will be wonderful to see my father and grandparents. As a child, I longed for a strong father-son bond, and now my dream is finally coming true, Royd said. They agreed to meet on the next weekend, and Abel asked Royd for his phone number to keep in touch. Okay, I'll give you my number, Royd said. They exchanged numbers, and Royd left Abel's shop, feeling happy. Abel celebrated the reunion with his workers. They celebrated with drinks and merriment as if Abel had hit the jackpot. Royd and Judy went home, and they felt a mix of emotions, happiness and betrayal towards his mom for keeping the truth from him. Royd called his mom, acting nice, and asked her to come visit him by the weekend. Mom, I am receiving an award and I wish you were here to see me receive it, he said. Congratulations, my son. I'll come on Thursday, I promise, his mom replied. Okay, mom, thank you, Royd said, ending the call. After the call, Royd turned to Judy with a beaming smile, holding her arms and gazing deeply into her eyes, his face radiating happiness and gratitude. "I didn't know what I would have done without you. Thank you so much for making me reunite with my brother," Royd told Judy. "You're welcome, darling. This calls for a celebration," Judy replied. "I'll go take a bath and then we can go out and celebrate," Royd said. A few days passed and it was already Thursday. Elena, Royd's mom, knocked on the door with a big smile. Judy opened the door and welcomed her. "Who are you, dear?" Elena asked. "I'm Royd's friend," Judy replied. "Where is my son?" Elena asked. "He's still at work, but he'll be home later tonight," Judy replied. Judy took Elena's bags and showed her to her room. Then she gave Elena some food to eat and they sat down to chat. They talked and laughed together like old friends, waiting for Royd to come home. Royd came home late from work because of an emergency. He refreshed up and went to see his mom. They hugged and chatted. "I like your friend Judy. She's lovely and homely," his mom said. "Is she going to be my future daughter-in-law?" "Yes, mom," Royd replied with a smile. Then Royd changed the subject. "Mom, are you hiding something from me?" he asked. "Why do you ask?" his mom replied, her smile turning to concern. "Do I have a brother?" Royd asked. "Or am I your only child?" His mom struggled to find the words to answer. Elena's eyes darted around the room, avoiding her son's gaze. "Royd, where did you get that idea from?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Answer me, Mom. Do I have a brother or not?" Royd demanded, his voice firm but gentle. Elena sighed and looked down, her eyes welling up with tears. "Yes, Royd, you have a twin brother. His name is Abel." Royd's eyes widened in shock. "Why did you keep this from me? Why did you lie to me all these years?" Elena broke down in tears. "I am sorry, Royd. Your father and I had problems and we separated. I took you with me and your father took Abel. I thought it was best for everyone." "Best? Mom, I thought you were the best, but I never knew you were this heartless and selfish, Mom. Didn't you think for once how the son you left behind would feel? When he is cold, he needs his mom. When he is sick, he needs his mom. Didn't you miss my brother, Abel, even once? How could you stay all these years without your son, Abel, and you feel okay?" Royd demanded. "I am sorry, I missed Abel a lot. I even went back to your father's house, but it was sold to someone else. I couldn't reach your father or your brother." Elena cried out. "You have no excuse. What about your parents, Mom? You never spoke about them when I asked you about your parents. I trusted you, but you broke my trust," Royd cried. "I didn't want to contact my parents. They would make me go back to your dad. I had enough of him," Elena cried. "Mom, you broke my heart. I'm very angry with you. I wonder how my brother will feel when he sees you. You denied him his mother's and father's love," Royd said, his anger evident. As he turns to walk away, Judy intervened. "Royd, everyone makes mistakes, but forgiveness is what makes us strong. Please forgive her and let's move forward." Judy's wise words resonated with Royd and he forgave his mom. "Mom, I forgive you. Let's move forward," he said, his tone softening. His mom was overjoyed and thanked Judy for her timely advice. United, they decided to put the past behind them and start anew. The next Friday, they all went to Abel's plaza. Elena was eager to reunite with Abel. Elena's heart raced with anticipation and nervousness as she arrived at Abel's plaza with Royd and Judy. She had dreamt of this moment for years, finally reuniting with her lost son, Abel. Royd, still processing his emotions, stood by her side, supporting her. Judy accompanied them, offering a calming presence. As they entered the plaza, Elena's eyes scanned the area, searching for a familiar face. And then she saw him, a young man with striking features, a mirror image of Royd, standing outside talking to someone. Her heart soared with love and longing. "Abel," she called out to him from a distance. Abel looked up and their eyes met. Time stood still as they stared at each other. The connection was evident. Elena took a step forward, her arms wide open, and Abel, sensing the resemblance of the woman he had always seen her photo in his grandmother's house. Abel came closer and he gave a sign to Royd, asking if this was their mom. Royd nodded his head and Abel ran to embrace his mom, tears of joy streaming down his face. Elena cried out, still hugging Abel. Please forgive me for leaving you behind. But Abel replied, Mom, you don't need to be sorry. I am very happy to see you. You are alive. Elena, Judy, and Royd were surprised that Abel wasn't angry but was happy and grateful to see her. After their emotional hug, Elena kept apologizing, but Abel wiped her tears and told her he wasn't angry but grateful to God who made them reunite, answering his prayers. After mother and son chatting, Abel suggested they go see Elena's parents, his grandparents. Elena was scared to face them after abandoning them for a long time, but she wanted to repent and make amends. They all went to Elena's parents' home, where Royd went inside first. The grandparents were delighted to see him, thinking he was Abel. But when Royd entered the sitting room, they were shocked to see two identical boys. The grandparents stood up, stunned before they could ask who was who. Judy and Elena entered the house, and Elena's mom was surprised. She went straight to Elena, who couldn't raise her face in shame. Elena's mom hugged her tightly. Elena, my baby girl, so you are alive. Elena nodded, tears streaming down her face. Elena's father joined the hug, and after much hugging, Royd's grandparents also hugged Royd, who introduced himself. Everyone sat down and they talked. Elena begged her parents for forgiveness, explaining why she had stayed away for so long. Her reasons weren't justified, but everyone was happy they had reunited. Everyone forgave each other, and after the emotional reunion, they all headed to Sam's home. When they arrived, Royd went inside the house first, and Sam and his son Abel exchanged pleasantries. Then Royd entered the house, and Sam was shocked to see two Abels. Elena, Judy, and Elena's parents entered the house, and Sam, who had just been drinking, couldn't contain his joy. He hugged his wife and apologized for destroying his family with his own hands, regretting the bad advice he had followed. Royd reassured him, "Don't cry, Dad. From now on, we'll all live together as a happy and big family." Royd and Abel hugged their father Sam, and the reunion was filled with joy, forgiveness, and new beginnings.